All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm momentarily sitting in for Ann Kennedy, who will be here in a few minutes, but she asked me to get everything started. So just wanted to let you know that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast on Channel 18 in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. I must inquire whether anyone is taping this meeting, and if so, to make their presence known. Seeing none, I will just quickly, we can go around and introduce ourselves. That would be great. So,
Elisa Crowley, Barnstable.
Doug Payson,
Barnstable Village.
Alicia Messier, GIS.
Kate Gilbert.
Hyannis. Liz Lewis, West Barnstable.
Anne Rowland, Centerville.
Jenna Zeno, Administrative Assistant.
and I'm Farley Lewis, I'm Vice Chair. We can quickly get through the approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Has everybody had the opportunity to go through them? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
so moved.
Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's a unanimous approval. Okay, I think what we will do is ask Janet Milkman of ELT. I already did.
Oh, never mind.
Are we recording?
Anyway, Janet, why don't you take over where I'm sitting right now, if you want, or you can sit there. That's fine.
Oh, whatever
Okay.
what do you
Yeah.
prefer? Better
Yeah,
with
if you
the
want
mic.
to. This is
Okay.
the.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. So thanks for the short notice review of this project. This is a really wonderful opportunity to protect almost 10 acres of land, which is immediately abutting our Fuller Farm property in Marston's Mills. It's got a big piece along the middle pond, which is one of the 3 Indian ponds. It does have a house on it. It's a small cape, but the rest of it is all in its natural state, although it has been a holly farm it was a holly nursery for many years, run by Wilfred Wheeler and descendants, who are best known for the hollies. Yeah, a Shumid holly. So we have been talking to the family for a long time, as is often the case. When my predecessor, Jackie Barton, was able to purchase the Fuller Farm for BLT back in 2012, the Wheeler family, which is the owner of this property we're talking about now, started reaching out about potentially conserving their land over time. And so a lot of stuff happened in the meantime, but here we are now on the verge of an agreement with the family to protect the property in perpetuity. And I will go through some of these slides. Okay, let's see. I have a little wrist issue, but I think I can do it. So, can people see this? Is there a way to make it full screen? Yeah. So here you can see approximately where it is. Let's see, now how do I advance it?
I'll scroll down.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So, There's actually, this is not the whole piece, it also includes this area over here. But what I'm showing you is maps that we put together for the state grant that we're applying for the town of Barnstable. And I'll just give you the sort of overview of the project. It's a $1.825 million project. It could be divided up into 4 lots potentially, so the value is quite a bit higher than that. And this is sort of how, this only shows 3 lots. There could actually be 2 lots here. But this is how we've divided up the piece that the town would be involved in and then the other piece. Our intention is to leave the house there and to use it for caretaker housing. We need it very badly. And then to conserve in perpetuity the 2 pieces, and also to have a conservation restriction on the house lot as well. So there wouldn't ever be sort of a much larger building on that property. So just to finish the sort of general description, set the wind.
That's wrong.
So the way we are proposing the budget to work is that we would basically go to the Community Preservation Committee for about half of the funding, and a half of that funding, so a half of $900,000 approximately, we are applying for a state land grant for, and so the town would actually, if the grant is awarded, would only be paying out about $450,000. And we have been to we've submitted a letter of intent, and that has been accepted for the next stage of the process, which I think will happen in a couple weeks. The reason for all the rush with this project is that the family is interested in closing on it in June of 2024, which means that the grants available to us, the application process, ends June 13th. So we've been really scrambling to make this happen, but I think it's doable. And the property is really of great value for many reasons. Here you can see in green the Fuller Farm property abutting it, and then also the Danforth property really close to it. So it's we have the opportunity to sort of extend the green corridor really significantly and to connect to one of the largest open spaces in the village. It's not quite in Zone 2, very close to Zone 2. It is in the Resource Protection and Groundwater Protection Zone, or the Groundwater Protection Zone. It has, the shorefront is in the state-designated priority habitat for rare species, which I believe is a kind of mussel, freshwater mussel. It is also entirely in biomap, the biomap layer for the aquatic core, rare species, and the, let's see, aquatic core buffer. It is also mostly prime forest land and prime farmland soils. So now I'm going to go to, let's see, some photos. So this wooded area is the beginning of the Wheeler property from Fuller Farm. And you can see Middle Pond right down here.
Is there like a trail that goes through there?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes, there's a trail. You can sort of see it. It's
Yeah.
mowed right here. It goes around the entire Fuller Farm property, and I'll show you an image of that right now. This is from the property looking out onto Middle Pond. There's a beautiful beach there. And these are some of the specimen holly trees. In here too, do you remember? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what you were asking, Liz, was this dotted line shows the trail around Fuller Farm. You could add about, another half mile through the Wheeler Road property. Potentially, I think this is a private way there. We're looking into that, so you may not be able to connect to the Danforth property
Quite yet.
quite yet.
What about the people that live like, they're green, okay, to the, like, north of the yellow dotted line, that.
Here?
Yeah, right there. Do they have any plans on giving any land to you? I know there's a house there and all that, but.
No, their houses are right at the property line, basically.
Yeah, okay.
So they enjoy the whole,
Yes, so yeah.
the whole
that's
Fuller
stuff.
Farm, right?
Yeah. No, I used to
Right.
walk my dogs around there.
Yeah.
So that's a nice walk.
Yeah. So, just go down. So you can see the full length of the trail. It also goes into the woodland area. And the intent would be to leave the parking here only at Fuller Farm, not have any parking here. So there would be access to Middle Pond, but you'd have to walk to get there, either from Wheeler Road, the neighbors could walk there, or from Fuller Farm. Be a really lovely walk for a picnic on the water.
Yeah.
Right. Or a swim, whatever.
Quick thought.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could create a loop perhaps up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could potentially do that. Yeah.
Just walking trail.
And that's sort of how we originally had it, and then we thought, oh, maybe we can connect it to Danforth, but I'm really not sure that's a possibility at all. So, and we need to see what the neighborhood is interested in too, but yeah, a loop might be really nice there. Also, there will likely be someone living in the house, so we have to take that into account too. So, yeah, I think that is you all have this, I think. You can see the full property. What I've been showing in my slides is really just the blue piece, but it's the yellow and the orange as well. So the blue piece is about 5.5 acres, and then these together are another 4 acres. So it's really an unusual and wonderful opportunity to get a fairly big parcel, and
Yeah.
And this, you're saying is a private
I believe that's a private way. Yeah.
belonging to,
I believe it belongs to some of the neighbors, and I'm not sure.
access to the
Yeah.
pond for
Yeah.
like an association?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if it's all of the neighbors or some of the neighbors. The
Okay.
title is not so clear, but we're looking into it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So is there anybody currently living in the house or?
The family does live there sometimes. They just come down for a week or weekend and have cared for it really nicely and really love the place. So they're incredibly conservation-minded and want to see it stay the way it is as much as possible.
There's a little boathouse.
Yeah, boathouse?
Yes, there is.
And
There's also what used to be a really nice garden and some beehives and, yeah, garden shed and, yeah.
the garage is going to go away.
Well, potentially. It
Isn't in decent shape.
it isn't in great shape, but we haven't had an inspection, and so it's, if we can keep it, we will.
Okay.
So I think what we're now doing, as I described, is trying to get all of the committees together who, just to give the town the confidence to go ahead with this state grant in this kind of shortened time frame. And we're meeting with Concom tomorrow and trying to get the grant in on Thursday.
I asked what.
Thank you. I heard a question regarding property that was private that you said you're looking into. Which one is that?
It's the way between Wheeler Road and Mystic Lake, and
So-
I think it's owned by them. Yeah, it's the access to the lake.
So
So
it might be a subdivision a requirement?
no, I don't think so. And
So can you resolve that before it comes before the town council?
I don't think we will. Well, the only issue is is whether the trail can continue on beyond the land that we're conserving.
But that would be a good answer to know before it comes to the town council.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. Yes.
Shouldn't be that difficult to just find out what the current status is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it'll come up and it'll sound better if you know the answer and
Right.
not like we're looking into it.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
I would just like to add, in the world of horticulture, Wilfred Wheeler was the first Secretary of Agriculture
Yes.
for the Commonwealth.
Yes.
And really the pivotal person on holly propagation and developing all the name varieties of hollies. I mean, he's had an outsized role, and I would think it would be important to emphasize that this is kind of a historic property in that sense.
Yes. Yes. I really agree with you.
And
Yeah.
he actually paid people to go into the woods in West Barnstable and find hollies that had highly serrated leaves, smooth leaves, yellow berries, orange berries, red berries, and those were the foundation for the different name varieties of hollies. So it's pretty critical.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
So, and then so parking, so there will be public access, or do you see it as more like members of Barnstable Land Trust, or?
Oh, no. There'll be public access. I mean, anyone can park at Fuller Farm and walk.
Just walking trail?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
Can you park along Wheeler Road at all?
No.
No, okay. There's
No.
nothing there.
Right. Right. But it's really lovely. I mean, it's a really nice walk. And it's, it's not that far. I would say it's probably, maybe it's half a mile to the lake, to the pond from the parking area. Downhill.
But also just protecting that amount of shorefront.
Exactly. Right.
That's probably the most critical.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, there's not going to be sewers there. Right. So keeping.
How healthy is that pond?
It's fairly healthy. I mean, they've had some issues. I think they're thinking about an alum treatment right now. But the Indian Ponds Association is really very seriously monitoring what's going on there. And there's Hamlin Pond, Middle Pond, and Mystic Lake, and I know one of them has had more issues than the other, but I don't remember which one it was.
Middle Pond has a herring run also.
It does, right.
That's another critical point. is
Right.
That and there may be funds available because of, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a lot of anadromous fish
exactly.
money around right now.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. We actually own a little parcel right down there by the herring run. It's at the other end, the other end of the lake. Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
So what would
It's ideal.
you like us to do for you at this point?
Make a motion.
Yeah, do you want us to write a letter of recommendation
Yeah.
to the town council? Yeah. That would be good? All
Yeah,
right.
that would be
Okay.
great.
All right.
Or a CPC, does,
Well, CPC's already approved
okay.
the
Well, they're-
letter of intent.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's going on to application.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so,
It depends what, how fast you want. I don't think it will be going to town council
Anytime
soon,
soon, yeah.
just because,
I think the agenda's already out.
we don't need to, and we'll probably just go once when we have the CR all wrapped up and everything. So I would think it's going to be a while before it goes to town council, but,
here she is.
We have to leave the door open because of the open meeting law.
I'll just say her next to Douglas.
But, yeah, just a letter of support to, a letter of support to town council, even if we aren't going there right away, would be helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
I heard it.
And we can come back when we have the CR. I think the CR was drafted today, so I'm happy to share that. But if you want to review that at another meeting, we can do that too.
Have to leave that open.
Stick the trash back.
Trash barrel.
We've just been discussing, should there be a motion?
Yes, I guess we
Yeah.
need a motion for, so you're asking us, Miss Kennedy, that's what it says right there. You are asking for a motion to, for a letter of recommendation to the town council for the purchase of this land?
You know,
point?
I think if you can support the town pursuing the land grant, that's really the issue of today. We can come back with the CR, which I know this group usually reviews, and then you can write a letter of support for that to the town council.
Okay. So could we have a motion from the floor for someone to, somebody frame that in a motion, Douglas? I think you can.
I move that the Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee draft a letter in support of the town pursuing funding for the purchase of 150 and 178 Wheeler Road in Marston's Mills of a total of 9.5 acres of land.
That's perfectly put. And I second that.
The town will not own the land. The town will hold the CR, just
They
to
will
be
hold the
clear.
CR.
And it will be on the 5.5 acres of the 9.5.
Okay.
So you described the entire project, which is good.
So if the town, you want the town to pursue the land grants,
Yeah.
however, with the back goal being that they would support, would hold the CR?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
why would they be instrumental in pursuing the land grants?
Because it's only given to municipalities.
Okay, there's the bottom line.
We will also pursue a state grant that can go to nonprofits. It's a much smaller grant, but we'll pursue that for the piece that's not with the house on it and not part of the piece that the town is helping with, so.
So there would be a CPC piece of this?
Yes, there would be a CPC piece of it, and the land grant would be used to reimburse half
Offset
of that.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense to me. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm late, everybody, but I was late getting out of work, and then it was bumper to bumper on a rainy day on Cape Cod. So
So you have a motion. You need a second.
I did second it.
Oh,
So all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Now, before you leave.
Yes.
We do have some good news about CRs from your point of view. Commerce.
Yes, yes, so that project closed, and, yeah, the CRs were recorded, and it is done. So that field is protected forever.
Thank you. I went by there the other day. They had re-shingled the barn, and it looked gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
it's great.
It's an iconic piece of property, so I'm so glad it's protected.
It is.
Thanks for your work on it.
Yeah, and thank you for your support on that.
Yep.
Yeah, took
Yeah.
longer than it should have, but it's done.
That's the way it is.
Yes.
so. Okay, so
Yeah.
Farley, what's next?
Okay, so now we move on to the proposed lands transfer of Cape Cod Community
Want to close
College.
that down? Yeah.
I'd like to ask Chris to enlighten us on that, if she would.
I thank you very much. And I heard from not only Assistant Town Manager Andy Clyburn, but also Karen Nober, that August 17th is when the 120 days will be up for the appeal period. And the town already, the college presented to some of us, had a public hearing, that this transfer is going from the State Department of Transportation to the college.
So what is the impact on the land around it? What is our interest in it?
I'm not quite sure, except that Doug has some comments, but that the college intends to use the paths and the property for outdoor education as it has been using it. And perhaps Doug can expound on that.
Well, and I think I spoke to the president of the college at that meeting about maintaining the trails, even if at some point they built buildings there, that we would want to maintain the trails, and he seemed amenable to that, even if it was a paved path.
So do you think as a committee we should write a letter to the college in support of what your understanding is and what they said in the meeting, that they would maintain the trails for education and recreational use, and that even if they build buildings there, that they would maintain the trails? So
You might want to just support the open space part of it. Whether or not they build buildings is in the future.
yeah, I'm hoping as a former town councilor of the area that they don't.
Right.
that, but
So I
that's
don't
not
think you need to,
relevant.
I don't
Yep.
think you need to necessarily endorse that they build there. I think that it would be helpful that you, that you endorse that this transfer happened to enhance the college's outdoor education programs.
Okay. So, well, I'm not sure I should do that without consulting the town manager.
Just so you know, we'll likely have another meeting. I forgot when our next meeting is. the appeal period is over on August 17th.
Yeah, we have another meeting in August. Yep.
Yes.
So maybe we should postpone a further discussion.
You can write a draft letter to the town manager and see if maybe he has any suggestions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I want to consult with him before I
Especially since
recommend
he's
anything to the committee.
Professor at the college. He's got a close relationship with the,
I actually know him from when I lived in Towson, so.
but I think it would be good to get something on the record,
Yeah.
and you can tweak it, because it's not until August 17th that the 120 days is over. And they were originally looking to reduce the amount of time for the public hearing.
Yeah.
And the town manager declined. They didn't see any benefit in declining the opportunity for the public to weigh in on it. And quite frankly, I think this body has probably got the most weight when it comes to weighing in on the future of that property.
So, yeah, I'll arrange a meeting with Mark before we make a final recommendation. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What's next, Farley?
Okay, on to an update from Alicia Messner regarding the walking library.
Is this Alicia?
This is Alicia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, yeah.
Come to a couple meetings.
I thought you were a new person in the block, so I was,
I still am technically new. It's only
by process of elimination, I figured out you were you.
been a year.
Yeah.
The walking trails. So I was able to push to get the walking trails up after going back and forth with the website designer. He did not want to do individual PDF trails for each individual map as listed for like locations. It's something where I think if you guys wanted to push it or pursue it specific to your website, I was just doing it as on behalf of you. If it's
Yep.
something that you want or really want to have done, I'm sure you could you could push him into it. But he gave reasoning as to why he did not want to do that. So he was thinking it was best to have. Basically, it's an Excel spreadsheet layout. It's not my favorite layout. It was kind of just something to get up there. We can always make changes to it. It was just, again, to get something up there and out there
Yeah.
as a draft. It says draft everywhere. Obviously, if you guys have seen it, it says draft on everything and everywhere. So
So who is this that's objecting?
it's our website designer. So you would just need to go and Lynn Point is his boss. So if you wanted to contact and just say, come up with a list of requests as to how you want the walking trail library to be laid out, and just put that something typed up in writing on behalf of your committee. This is how we want it laid out. As I said, mine was just the quick and dirty, easy, like up, so that we had something so that you could present to your town council meeting, and that was kind of like, that was the big push to do that, so.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest that Farley, you are really instrumental in the walking library situation. And Chris is also, yes. But I think maybe you ought to put together a group that we can go and talk to, probably Lynn Poyant.
Yeah, I mean, she's his direct supervisor, so yeah.
And include
I don't
him.
think you need a meeting. I think you just need a request.
Yeah, just a request to
Well-
put something together.
Yes, but I'm not sure we can do that without actually face-to-face discussion.
I mean, most of the work that he does is via email, so I don't think you're going to get a face-to-face.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he works. So it's one of those things where he kind of just.
Works when he does.
Yeah. I mean, it's the send an email.
Okay, Farley. So what do you think?
Whoever wants to do that.
I don't know about the walking trails, but Farley knows about the walking trails, and Doug does.
As do
and
others.
A
Yeah.
few others, yeah.
So I guess that what we need to address right now is the format? Would that be correct? Okay.
If you
so-
want to change anything on it, if you want to,
Okay.
as I said, I had originally, as part of my request, as part of what we all had talked about was, and what I got the agreement from the conservation ed. I wrote an email to him for like, this is
Yeah.
something that we're interested in doing. He really wanted to make sure it was very separate from any of the other trails because it was specific to your committee. It wasn't something that's specific to the conservation department, so he
Okay.
emphasized he wanted it separate. So we had talked about at a meeting having like a guide that somebody could go to go through and basically sort through or do a quick look and have it by a variety of topics that they could pick from: hours, filters, trail, moderate, trail type, moderate, hard, easy,
Yeah.
locations, and all of that. But they could also just have quick links with like the walking trail name.
Yeah.
So they could click on those individually. So we were talking about basically having the guide and the trail names. And then potentially we could have done it by village or however your accordion you wanted to do the organization for quick links to just the PDFs. And then when I got what I got from the web requests, it was he was more interested in just doing the guide and the quick links inside of the guide. He said that was an easier way to do it. So, but again, I was just kind of doing it on behalf of you quickly.
So he wants to, excuse me, so he wants to create the whole library,
Yeah.
and not that people can pull out.
It's just,
one.
so it would be just the guide, and we can talk about the ability to do the sorting. That function's not currently up there. We should have the ability to create documents to be able to do the sorting. I was starting to try to talk to him about that. But right now, it's just it's just a web page basically that shows a list of all of the properties, and it takes that guide and makes it a static image. And then you have your links to the individual PDFs that people can click on, and it opens up a new PDF for the walking trails that you guys have as drafts currently.
So what's wrong with that?
It was just up to you as to whether or not, however you
No, I don't
wanted
mean,
to.
I'm not suggesting you thought there was something wrong with it, but I'm wondering if,
We want a visitor or a resident to be able to pull down a map of a particular
and
walk
like,
that they
and-
want,
and download it
that
and
they're
print it?
interested in, after they review it for their comfort level.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether,
And everything is right. It's not, I mean, it's not 50 trails. Eventually, I think the idea is it's going to be,
grow.
it'll grow,
Yeah.
but right now it's manageable because it's just a short list.
Yeah.
And it is sorted based on easy is at the top, and it's sorted that way currently.
So I guess what's missing is the ability to download one?
No, you can download at the end of every single one of those lines is a link you can click on, and it brings you to a PDF.
So
So it's
I'm not understanding what's missing.
it wasn't the original
Plan.
It wasn't the original plan.
Okay.
So that's the update. The original plan kind of got tossed out. It wasn't necessarily what conservation would have been
Do
happiest with.
Individual
Yeah.
PDFs or something like
Yeah.
that.
And how he named it, I'm not sure if it's enough. So it's been brought up. So you can click on any of those, and those link to maps. Those are
Alicia,
just,
maybe you can walk up there and explain to us, please.
yes. So make me walk. Instead of sitting all day. So
The walking library, you have to walk.
So these individual names were just, those were just placeholders. It wasn't necessarily supposed to be, like, this is the name of the PDF, and it was just, and then I forwarded all the PDFs, so like
Oh, okay.
things
Got it.
need to be kind of
Label.
named here
Temporary.
What's wrong with that?
to those. And then if you actually go back to it just is walking trails. Like, I don't know if you guys want it specified any more than that. It was kind of put into the grouping, which is not what conservation wanted originally. So I was just so grateful that he put it up as fast as he did that I wasn't.
Yeah. I
wasn't going to really
quarrel.
crazily
Yeah.
pursue it, but it
I think it's great.
conservation does
Walking
want
trails is, yeah,
separating.
simple and to the point.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
But I
great.
think maybe if we do keep it like this, I think, I mean, I know you guys are going for a name change, but calling it LAPC walking trails might differentiate it for right now.
Yeah.
It's an easier fix.
I think maybe you should put library on it, Walking Trails Library, because it looks like,
So LAPC walking library, walking trail library.
I think walking trails is the least confusing. Library, someone.
but library
Not
implies,
understand that
What
it's
about a
right.
walking trails guide?
It is a
I don't
guide.
understand what's the
Yeah.
difference between the PDF and the Excel as far as
So
use
this,
for
so
the.
this originally was an Excel document.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea is eventually when you guys have a lot of these, is that you would go in and you would sort it or have it as a library. You would say, I wanna go on West Barnstable, I want it to be easy, I want it to be 2 miles, give me my trails.
And
that's
that
the
you can-
library.
So that's the part
You can
that
do
you
that in
can't
Excel,
do
but not
yet?
the PDFs?
Well,
Is that what you're
so
saying?
this works in Excel, but it's how it's an HTML formatted thing. So in order for it to kind of live and feel custom to the town's website versus just being an Excel spreadsheet. Otherwise, this could just be an Excel spreadsheet. They would download it as an Excel spreadsheet. You would need to make sure formatting was correct for anybody. Like, this is the easier way to not have to deal with people saying, I clicked on it and the Excel spreadsheet didn't work, or the library links didn't, like something didn't work. So this is just, this is an HTML web page that was created for this using that Excel guide that was created by you guys. And I added a couple of extra stuff, and then there's just a link to each. So when you click on the Santuit, it brings you to the Santuit
Oh,
Drive.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's
So
great.
that's where it's a beginning. This is the beginning stages of. So it's like the alpha.
That's very good.
Okay,
Al.
so the way it's set up on the top line there, no?
The yellow?
Yellow?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's confusing if you use loop walk or linear walk and then out and back. It's got to
Yeah,
be,
that was one of the things that we talked about,
Oh,
and
so-
I do have an email into him.
okay, so it should be loop walk or out and back, and
Yeah,
then.
we did
it's-
talk about making that
And it
change.
should be distance instead of out and back there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anything you guys want to make changes to this, again,
Okay.
this was one of those things where it was
Right.
like I had a week to try to get this together and put this up. But granted, I should have had this.
great.
It should have been done a lot
Yeah,
longer, like much longer ago. But any of these, so you want
That should be,
loop and out and back.
yep,
So loop, walk, and out and back.
back, and then out and back should be changed
And
to
that should be distance.
This should be distance, okay? Because I didn't type that, so this should just be distance.
Yep.
Okay, and we're good with everything else.
Well, would you say level of difficulty rather than difficulty?
We can do level of difficulty.
Sort of
Yeah,
sounds,
that helps. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, level of the.
Okay.
if I may, it doesn't necessarily telegraph to a naive person looking at this link that this is sortable.
No, it's not sortable right now.
But it will.
It will be at some point. It's just not sortable now.
Will it be sortable by July 20th for the town council meeting?
Realistically,
You know what, it doesn't matter because
it's a
this
big
is
push to try
excellent.
to get it to be sortable because it's me asking the web request person to build that. I can't figure when he can get it done in between everything else he's doing.
I think this
But
is
this is
fine
great
for
start.
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
great too.
Because I'm envisioning that Chair Kennedy will be presenting a PowerPoint to the town council meeting on the 20th.
If
And-
I can figure out how to do a PowerPoint, I certainly will do.
A screenshot of this
Yeah.
might help sell that we're
And this is an alpha. This is like not even beta. Like this is our
That-
first.
Yeah, it might help sell that this committee is doing relevant work in executing the action items of the town's open space and recreation plan. That's where I think telling isn't as effective as showing.
Yeah. It will be sortable. We will get to that.
Can you do that, Ann?
Well, I guess I'm going to have to.
Or perhaps Jenna can help Ann with like a 5-slide presentation.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
Actually, I know how to do a PowerPoint. It's just.
I'm envisioning a long meeting. We're supposed to start at 6 o'clock on July 20th. So our next town council meeting is expected to be long. But I don't think that this is going to be a controversial issue. But I do think that a screenshot of the walking library as presented would help explain that the work that this body does is relevant and effective. So that's
And I did send you the Cartway.
Cartway.
Crooked Cartway, and the GIS specialist changed the pathway to white. So that was another thing. It's all of you deciding whatever you prefer. He had decided that white,
That really
and I emailed him. I
jumps
said no
out.
more fuchsia pink, and he was like, I just decided the white. I'm like, okay.
It does jump out, though.
That jumps
Fuchsia
out.
pink jumps out.
Yes.
So.
And if you can explain to me, please, in case this comes up for discussion, what is the reservation of the Conservation Department or the staff?
So he just wanted to make sure that it was separate from. It
Because-
felt separate because he's not maintained. It's not a trailway system that was specifically created by the conservation. You guys are basically working on your own as a committee to create these
I see.
little loops, and it's just kind of a.
Not all of it is on town-owned property.
Well, yeah, and we have some of like this.
We're going to have to have a
Santuit.
separate
So
discussion with them.
You have a different intent than what he would have for making his conservation trails, trail maps. Whereas it's the entire thing, and we also pointed out on your maps, it's specifically in this language. If you guys wanted to review it at some point, it's specific to your walking trail program that LEPC had created. So I was very specific with. And that the conservation trail maps are different than these. They may look different than these. They have a different function.
So at some point, this committee will have a discussion with the Conservation Department so we can merge, so we can coordinate a little bit. So it's sort of silly to have two separate systems.
But there's two different intents. So when, like specifically, if you look at the way that this is, the Santuit, and this came up at the last meeting, you're calling out just someone's at work, they want to get outside, they want to do a quick 2-hour hike. They don't want to look at the entire trail system. This is a zoom in to just this area that's a 2-hour hike, a moderate hike. So it's a different function than the conservation trail maps. So the conservation trail maps is the entirety of the property versus
So they'd have all the side trails.
they would have
and everything.
every site, they have everything. Whereas
Yeah.
as we're not doing that here, it's just the loops or
see.
the out
The hiking
paths,
loops.
Perhaps it needs to
right?
Yeah,
Get-
no, I get it.
merged with recreation.
I do have to tell you something.
perhaps.
I printed
Yeah, I
out
think
a
we
map
do have to have a conversation
Yeah.
with
and
the
I
other
printed out white
departments.
instead of fuchsia.
Well, that's a formatting fun thing. Okay.
That was like the email that you sent us with all the
Yeah.
PDFs?
Well, yeah. So it wasn't the latest one. It wasn't the Crooked Cartway because that one was
No,
white, as I
I
said, and I told them to stay consistent.
I printed out Great Marsh.
The other thing is if we
Yeah.
would
I
have
will-
walked this trail with
all the
the
ones that he
phone
printed
on,
Came out
we could
pink.
automatically
pink.
put it on all trails.
Could be something, could be a
PDF.
setting or something.
This is what I mean by like adding the extra layer. If you do the Excel spreadsheet, it's like adding the extra layer of like it didn't work.
Phone on
There was a problem.
Upload, yeah.
Software.
Yeah.
Then we name it.
And I don't get along.
LEP.
Maybe that's why it came out white.
Okay, so,
I'll help you figure it out.
Yeah, pasture.
so does anybody have any questions? Any comments?
I think it looks great.
These are marvelous,
Yes,
marvelous
yes.
beginning.
Fuchsia pink, you guys like
Yeah,
that?
it jumps out where
Yeah,
the trail
it's
is.
right. It makes a statement.
Well, Alicia,
It's my GIS specialist.
yeah, well, pat yourself on the
They
back.
did a great job.
Yeah, you did a very good job, and we appreciate it so much.
Yeah, so work in progress, and I
Yes,
think.
and that's why it says draft everywhere.
Everywhere.
So if there's any question, there's draft on it everywhere. It's
so-
just not a final product.
Yeah.
People
Can you
who-
get onto the website yet and do
It
it?
even says draft on the top.
Yes, it does. Good for you. Can you get to it from the website yet?
Yes, so, sorry. So when you go into your LAPC
Yeah, okay.
webpage,
I wasn't sure
this
that
is the Town of
that
Barnstable
wasn't draft too.
webpage. And you have on your right-hand side, it's the Cape Cod Pathways, and that's why it was one of those things where, again, separate, and it's down at the bottom. And this is also, if you go to the Conservation Department, it's there.
Four maps for Cape Pathways.
Different
This
parts.
is-
Separate system.
This is
Why
this is a
doesn't it-
whole separate project. that-
Yeah, oh, okay,
They
because I was
don't
gonna
fit on
say,
one.
shouldn't it
Yeah.
say like
This would take an entire
mid-Cape
meeting to
or
talk
lower
about.
Cape,
Yeah,
you know,
that would be
so.
I spent hours talking about that.
Yeah,
We're trying to take those
yeah,
out.
okay. So,
Those were the 4 maps that were developed by Tom Mullen when he was a member of this committee.
oh, okay.
And when the Cape Cod Pathways was beginning through the Cape Cod Commission, and Tom Mullen spearheaded that with Will
Will, yeah.
Mason.
Yeah, Mason, right.
And they're the ones who carved or
They
patched
blazed-
together,
they
blazed the
trails.
trail from Sandwich to Yarmouth, crisscrossing open land that was either owned by the state, the town, Barnstable Land Trust, or by easement. So those 4 trails are static documents. And I believe that they are not complete. Not all that land has been secured for,
Some of them are private properties, and some of them don't have easements.
some of them are on a wish list that they wish it could go this way. But because you can print them and read them, the town of Barnstable was carved into 4 sectors from Sandwich to Yarmouth, so that on a 8x11 piece of paper you could see it. And for example, the West Barnstable conservation area virtually takes 1 page. Right. So page number 2 brings you from West Barnstable to Barnstable and towards Yarmouth. So those are established before Alicia was hired.
Yes.
But the Cape Cod Pathways Trail Guide, is that kind of similar to,
That would be those 4 maps.
okay.
And that was an initiative by the Cape Cod Commission that they have since dropped.
Yeah.
All of this is a work.
Okay.
This is a
So
work in
that
progress,
all
but this
could
is
go away.
This is the Conservation Department's
Oh.
webpage. So just so that you know that it is up there in.
So it's on conservation.
It's on conservation and on LEPC. That's why I need to make sure that we differentiate, because it didn't
Yeah.
necessarily end up on the webpage the way that I had wanted it to. So that you guys aren't conservation. So.
And that tab that says Trail Guides, that was the initiative from the Conservation Department, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Back from when Rob Gatewood was, yeah. So those are also static maps.
Yes.
Of-
These are the entire area. Like this
Right.
is, so that's again the difference between what yours are just close up. Potentially, some of them it's the entire one, but some of them are it's just close up to show like a loop.
Yeah. like-
Versus this is saying these are all of the trails to the whole area.
Yeah. because Bridge Creek would have several different arms to it, branches.
The initiative of ours is to augment what the Conservation Department has already done.
Like to take the maps and let people understand a quick, well, somewhat quick, an hour isn't necessarily quick, but a way to dissect the trail areas and say, all right, I can do an hour. I don't have to do the entire trail system, but I can do an hour.
Because the Conservation Department's trail guides don't give you as much information as what
It's not
is
going to
on
tell you
that.
it takes you 5 hours to do all the trails. I mean, you all know how long it takes to do most of the places, but I think you said the idea was to get people more interested in being outside and seeing the areas. So, and I think the last conversation we had was, we talked about half-hour quick trails too for loops.
So in regards to the trail maps that you've sent us,
Yes.
how would you like us to submit our edits if we have them?
If you want to just send it to me in an email is fine.
Okay.
If you want to draw on them and just do a scan and then
Okay,
shoot them over.
okay, all right.
You can bypass me and you can just do it through Farley, because Farley's the vice chair and she's also head of all the walking trail system initiatives.
Yeah, well, okay.
I'm
You can see me, so I know what's going on.
Trying to make this as efficient as possible. If, people know, they look at one of the trail maps and they see that there's, something there that shouldn't be there, or something that should be there and isn't there, can they just submit edits to Alicia?
Wouldn't you prefer, though, having them filtered through you? Because what if you get three different suggestions that conflict with one another?
Bless you.
I don't think that's going to
I
happen.
don't think that's going to happen. All right.
And
I think we-
Alicia would say,
Yeah, wait a minute.
Oh, I would let you know right off the
Yeah,
bat.
it's
Like
like,
so-and-so said this, so-and-so said this.
Yeah,
Which one do you actually want? I have no fear of sending it to all parties.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
However you guys want it. They're not my maps, they're yours.
Okay,
So.
good.
Okay.
All right, so I have my marching orders. I will take it.
Thank you so much.
It does.
It'll take a minute to
Alicia,
like,
thank you. Bravo.
I
Nice.
will try to get those changes up for those specifics.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, did I talk about the CRs at this point?
Commerce Road.
Commerce Road is done.
Came through.
Katuitt School, I don't know the status of. Harju, Amaral, and Prince Ave are still at the state, but they're closer.
Closer.
This
Okay.
administration is tackling them with greater speed. So they have a priority. Those properties that are dependent on grants are being done first. So that's why these three continue to languish. So, and I don't know the status of the tracking chart. I've asked about that, but I haven't gotten a response. I'm thinking, however, that it perhaps doesn't belong in legal. Maybe it should start at Community Preservation Committee or Conservation. I'm not sure which one, and got to think about it a little bit more, but
Yeah, it wasn't Tom Lee originally created this, the
Yeah.
chart. Yeah.
Tom,
Yeah.
see what he thinks, because it's
When he
it's
was
not
on-
going anywhere right now. I don't think that legal entirely gets, I don't think they're really the starting point. They are essential, but I'm not sure that they're the starting point necessarily. So, thank you, Alicia. So, So does anybody feel strongly one way or the other about it? No? Okay.
All right.
So the committee name changed.
Where is that in the process?
Where did Chris go? Anyway, the next town council meeting, do you know when that is, Gina?
The 20th of August. Yeah.
Yes, that's when I have to go and present reasons why the open space, why we should be the open space committee and not LAPC anymore. And as many people as I can get to sit with me would be very appreciated.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Much. And I think Chris had a good idea, and as much as I hate to do it, I might give you a call and see if I can get with you to put something together.
Sure. Do you,
But I'll do it.
and do you have any idea where we are on the agenda?
No. No, we might have to ask
Already been mentioned,
our
it's a long
liaison if they can put us ahead of a few things, especially if there's a lot of people there that are waiting to hear about that one item.
Yeah.
The agenda's not out.
Yes, yeah. I'll just, we got a lot of old people on this committee, so we'll just use that. I'm thinking about myself. All right, so do we have anything we want to talk about with the Pathways project?
I can tell you, I've spent the last 3 days clearing out the trail so that, and the lumber was delivered today.
Yes.
And people may, at this point right now, still be lugging it to the site.
In the rain.
Elisa saw me when I was this morning. I'm kind of exhausted. I did it all day today, and I had,
Did you do it, lugging?
no, I did the clearing out the trails
So
so
that
that
he
they
could do it. Oh.
bring the stuff in.
Oh.
And it was all, they had staked it out. If anyone wants to volunteer tomorrow morning, it's from 9 to 2 to help carry more lumber. And it was
Which way are they coming in?
From Ryan
Ryan
Jones.
Jones at 54 Carriage Lane generously offered to allow all of the materials to be delivered to his house, to use his electricity for the power equipment.
Oh,
He's a Barnstable firefighter.
Oh, okay.
And his father was the former chief, Bill Jones. And so that really made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because it's maybe, I wouldn't say it's 200 feet from where the bridge will go.
That's great.
Yeah, it's the closest
Yeah.
point, yeah.
So it's very, very close, and it is going to kind of curve like this. I was afraid it would be really straight and look. And
It's going to be cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's gonna be nice.
It's and I spoke to Lev Malakoff from the New England Mountain Biking Association, and I said, my priority is to close off the trail that where the ATVs and the motorcycles rode into the vernal pool.
Yep.
That was the whole premise behind having this bridge, was to keep them out.
Yep.
And you know,
I was just going to ask, is the bridge going to have kind of like a little ramp on either end so the bikes can go up, or do they have to get off their
it's
bikes?
got- the way they're going to do it, I think it's going to be sort of level. That they're doing it all by the elevation, and actually the way the town designed it, the elevation at one end, it's 29 and a half feet, and it's 29 and a half feet on the other side. That's the way they did it. So
Okay.
and
There is a space underneath it
yeah,
for
it
things
was
to...
important for amphibians to be
Right.
able to cross
Right.
underneath the bridge.
Right.
That was really a critical part of it, is to get to that vernal pool. So I think within the next 2 days it will be done, and then we should probably have some kind of PR thing, you know.
Why don't you take a few pictures?
Newspaper?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Take
I
a few
think we should,
pictures.
and,
Well, the finished product, and then
Yeah.
just
yeah.
come and use the trail.
Come and
Yeah.
use the trail, and maybe we could have a ribbon cutting or something, and well, people, it's actually, the trail is heavily used by walkers in the daytime and by mountain bikers at night. Most of the mountain biking is at night. Yeah, isn't it?
but they do come through during the day, too.
They do, and one almost hit me on the
Oh,
one of the
jeez.
trails. He came flying over the hill, and he was
my.
airborne, and I dove behind a tree.
Oh, my God.
But I see very little daytime bike traffic. But I see the tracks.
Yeah.
When
Yes.
Oh, in the morning,
you know,
so you know,
oftentimes
yeah.
I'm walking. It's like 6:30 in
Yeah,
the morning,
morning.
and you can see the tracks where they've been at night. They stage across from Cape Cod Beer.
Oh, yeah.
If you look, sometimes there's a whole load of them, and
Yeah.
I saw them in the dead of winter. It was like
Yeah.
35 degrees and really raining, and I look in the woods and I see all the headlamps and the headlights. People should know also that now, you know, the new state law is that you have to have lights on a white light on the front of your bike and a red light
Light in the
on the
back.
after dusk.
Really?
That's the law now. That
You're a great custodian of that area.
oh.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's very, very important. I mean, that millions was spent on that land, and a big reason was to protect the wildlife there.
When do you think that'll be accomplished or finished?
Couple of days, they said, right?
Wednesdays, they're
Yeah.
looking for the completion.
So we can get a picture of that
Yeah, I'll go take
in
some
advance of the
pictures.
town council meeting on the 20th.
Yeah, that's
and say-
another thing we can
that
talk
would be-
about.
Because that was a big success story.
Yes, and I could put that in my
yes.
PowerPoint that
Yeah.
I'm going to be making.
Ideal. Yeah.
And it was a nice collaboration with the New England Mountain Biking Association also.
Yes, that's a good point to make.
Steve Heaslip to go over and take pictures.
He lives in the
yeah.
village.
I know.
Yeah.
Be easy.
Yeah.
Or Eric Williams.
That's the
he's-
perfect thing.
I know, but isn't he out in Truro or something?
Wellfleet.
the outside thing.
Wellfleet.
Yeah, he's.
I'll send him a message.
Yeah, you send him, 'cause
No,
Okay.
he's a crazy person.
he is crazy.
My point is, if that can be part of the presentation at the town council
I know. So
meeting,
it gives us
it shows
more-
momentum, it shows that we've been accomplishing, it takes some time and making
Shows
collaboration.
collaboration with others, yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
We're
yep,
vital.
yep.
And the town provided the funding for the material.
And
Yeah, well,
you
they
want-
didn't start out that way. It's their own
No.
fault that they had
Yeah.
to pay for it. I'm not sympathetic. I'm not, sorry. We have, do we have a report on CPC?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Refuse him to.
So the main piece of business that pertains to our committee was the CPC meeting of June 26th, was the letter of intent from BLT requesting $905,000 from CPC open space funds for the acquisition of the conservation restriction on lots 3, 4, and 4, and with a total of 5.5 acres located on Wheeler Road in Marston's Mills.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's what we've already had a presentation on today.
Exactly, yeah. And, let's see, what else? Oh, I know, the appraisal for 2320 Meeting House Way, West Barnstable was ordered and received. Further studies for of the property for water purposes and community housing are underway. And I guess right now, the snag is they're looking for somebody or some way to evaluate the site for housing. So that seems to...
Appropriate for housing, in my view, but that's me.
Yeah, well...
That's a good water one.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, I mean,
and they
that-
have no
yeah.
sewer or water connection, so it really isn't very good for
Yeah.
dense housing. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it.
That was a request made of a CPC member
I can
at
imagine.
the time of presentation.
Yeah.
Right.
So when should people weigh in on the appropriateness of either the water protection issue or the housing issue on that parcel?
That fast. There's
Do you agree?
no time-sensitive date for the advancement of that evaluation until it's evaluated for housing.
Okay. I'm just curious, I know the town has the right of first refusal on this property, but there must be a time limit to that, isn't there?
There is. It's a year.
When
It's a year?
there has been
Okay.
what do I want to say? An offer that has been,
Bona fide.
Bonafide, yeah. 'cause
Okay.
I
And
thought there
tri-
had been an offer on it. Somebody said that.
I heard that there was an offer on it, but I don't know if it was.
Yeah.
I think the family is still waiting for the town, so I think it's a little fuzzy right now.
Yeah,
I don't,
but it's a year, I thought it was.
no, I thought it was 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90 days for Chapter 41, Chapter 61B.
Oh, 61B. Oh, right.
So 90 days for the town to respond?
But I think it's incumbent upon
Enough.
the property owner, town, that they've received an offer. And I think that they're still sorting things out among family members.
Okay.
Yeah, so at this point, it seems like this, the evaluation of this property has not been completed as far as the town is concerned, in terms of, it's water purposes, it seems to be very clear, but the housing issue seems to be the hangup.
Yeah, well, that's a burning need for the town, but it's not an appropriate piece of property for them.
The only way housing could work on that is right up at the street and then preserve the back of it because it's
Well,
wet and back there.
But how would you service those dense apartments? Because there's no water and there's
They're
no,
right
Sewer.
across the street, there's apartments.
yeah.
The senior housing,
That's,
Lombard
yeah, in the
Farm.
Parker
Lombard
Lombard
Yeah.
property.
Yeah, well, if you could get something that looked like that,
Yeah.
would be
No,
appropriate.
but right up on the street, and then, because the other part is where the wetlands are, that shouldn't be anything
the
near
family
that.
is making that property available close to the street.
Oh, so
where-
it's the
where the-
back one then? Then that
That's
should
my-
all be water.
The barn is.
It's all
pretty
wet in
close
the
to
back.
the
Yeah.
street, though.
Yeah,
And there's
I'm not
also
so sure that's in play.
There's a trout farm across the street.
Whoa.
I just want to say something about Santuit. I think Grace is still working on trying to put together a meeting. Tracy probably will represent the town of Barnstable. I guess she's having trouble engaging Mashpee, but my last suggestion was to set the meeting and then, let them know there is a meeting and hopefully they would come to it. Because we could be waiting for Mashpee for a long time. And Santuit Preserve Committee has, one of the requisite issues with forming the committee was an annual meeting, and we have not had a meeting
Well.
since 2019 at this point, so it's frustrating because it took a lot of work on Phyllis's part, David Anthony's part, my part, to have this happen, have this committee happen, and the agreement being drawn up and signed off by the state and Mashpee and the town of Barnstable, and then have it stalled is very frustrating. So, but anyway, that's where we are on that. There was something else I wanted to say that we have on our agenda, and and I have emailed Elizabeth Jenkins and asked her for a meeting to include me and Chris and Farley and anybody else that'd be interested in going to talk about the open space recreation plan and specific action items that we could be working on. I have not heard back from her yet, so I don't know if she's on vacation or, but I have not heard back. So when I do, I will contact you, Farley and Chris, and we'll go from there, and whoever else wants to be included. I don't want to exclude anybody.
And that doesn't preclude anyone from looking at the action items on the current 2018 Open Space and Recreation
Yeah,
Plan?
and suggesting how we would move forward. I'd be glad to hear.
Because if
from
it
anybody.
was, we took the 2010 Open Space and Recreation Plan and helped update it for 2018, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22,
That's
23,
7
24,
years.
25.
Yeah.
So in 7 years, in 2025, we
It's
should be
coming.
rewriting it.
Yep.
So more than half the time has passed for us to say, what have we done with our plan?
Yeah. Well, more than we did the first 7 years. So, all right, so does anybody else have any other things they would like to add?
No.
Huh? What's that?
Chris?
Report from town council.
Oh.
Liaison.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
she's reported, but go ahead.
Well, for the most part, I'm sorry, I was in a sneezing jag. Did you bring up the name change and the support from the community?
Yes.
Committee that were,
Yes,
So-
I think you were coughing. Yeah.
so yeah, I do hope
We
that
wanted to know where we were on the agenda.
it
So,
hasn't
and
been
then we
posted.
said if we were at the very end, if we could use our liaison's muscle to push us ahead.
Perhaps as chair, you and copy me, make
Yeah.
a request to the
Yes.
town council.
Because if we all show up, it'll be a lot of people, we don't want to have to.
I was told there was going to be a long meeting,
So many.
Yeah.
that there's a lot of,
Majority vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a controversial issue on the agenda
Yeah. Yeah.
to change zoning from a supermajority to a majority, to accommodate the fact that Barnstable is a housing choice community.
Oh, just don't tell me right now.
A housing choice?
Housing choice community.
What's that?
Meaning we need more affordable housing.
We know that.
But we do.
But the point is that they want to change the town council.
More.
They want to change the town council threshold for approving a zoning change from a supermajority to a simple majority. And there's a lot of people who contacted me who are not in favor of that.
Well, when I read in the newspaper that we don't have enough police, that's why we're having drive-bys in Hyannis in the middle of the daytime. I was nervous to come over here because you could get shot at now in Hyannis because they don't have enough police because they can't afford to live here. That's bad news.
Well, they can't
they
afford
can't
to
That's
afford to
not
live
very
here.
right.
They can't afford to live here. The 50% of our workforce is coming over the bridge now.
So what?
So what? That's an environmental nightmare.
Well, so is building huge housing complexes.
I attended that meeting as well, and I understand that's not the only issue. It's a systemic issue in the what do I want to say, public service sector. We heard that from our fire chief, in that a lot of people, young people are not choosing this
No, 'cause
as a
nobody's
way of
forced
life,
to be senior.
a career, that it has become a concern in the public service sector, fire, police,
Cape Cod Hospital,
first
doctors,
responders.
primary care.
Yeah, that people don't want to
But these are
make
not affordable housing,
the investment.
great housing.
Yeah, make the investment in that kind of a career and put their lives at danger, work long hours, be told when they come in for their 8-hour shift that they can't go home, they have mandatory overtime. There also, another factor is the benefits package for public service people in the town of Barnstable. So there's more involved in that than just housing. I hear, and it is concerning, but it's a trend not only in the town of Barnstable, not only on Cape Cod. It's
All over the country.
It's a trend that people don't want to go into being a
People
police
are killing
officer and
police
get
officers.
themselves killed
Well, and then
or getting COVID.
Respect for
The
them.
word didn't get out about the cancellation of the fireworks, so there was a big uprising in veterans.
Yeah, people showed up people showed up for
They had
fireworks.
to shut the Dennis beaches.
Yeah, and that, I mean, those beaches were
Crazy.
family beaches.
I know, it was 10 a.m. I have those kids, well, most of those.
So my point is, it's not just a housing issue. It's a little more complex than that. But housing is a component, I understand. But
And we need
don't be
real-
afraid to come to Hyannis.
We need real affordable housing.
fire-
not market rate.
The police chief made a point of saying that shooting was an anomaly. It wasn't what, from my understanding,
It was targeted,
yeah.
too,
So it,
personal vendetta.
so don't feel nervous about coming to a meeting like this. I got the sense from the police chief that shouldn't preclude you from coming to a meeting.
But he was clear in the article that they were understaffed. And why do you put that out to the
They are understaffed.
public?
They have been understaffed, but he explained to us, and the West Barnstable Fire Chief explained to us, that where they used to have hundreds of applicants, now they have 20. And once they go through the civil service exam and the physical exam, it's whittled to single digits. It's not a fact that they can find a place. It's a bigger problem that people can't run. They're not physically fit.
Yeah,
Texting.
yeah.
And they don't want,
Walking our trails.
and they probably don't want to work on weekends and holidays like police officers do, or through the night. I'm saying that it's more than just housing.
So this has gotten beyond.
Sorry.
Open space and recreation, but.
I just wanted to explain, don't be afraid to come to our meetings.
Yeah, so, thank you, Chris.
So I hope that Ann will have a brief PowerPoint.
How brief would you suggest if it's a full agenda and we're going to have a lot of
4 or 5
people?
slides, and if Jenna can help you with that, that would be great. And that the committee members should be sitting behind you to echo and support you with their presence, but they don't necessarily have to come to public comment and speak. Just say, maybe you want to take a vote and say you're unanimously,
It's going to be in that room, that meeting?
Yeah.
that you have unanimous support of the body here. Maybe you want to take that vote now?
All right, okay. Bye.
Thank you for your suggestions.
Does somebody want to make that motion?
What?
That,
Oh, I've already invited everybody and they all said they'd come.
take a motion that say that you all support the
Yeah, okay. I
the
guess-
change as proposed. Does everybody
Haven't
have
we
the?
had that vote before? All right, so who wants to make that motion?
Motion to adjourn.
No.
Not yet, Carly.
Motion to support the change of
Get to the
name
microphone.
from the Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee to Open Space Committee.
With the whole prescription as
And with
proposed,
the- Yes, with our supporting description.
or update of the
Yes.
code.
Yes, our mission statement.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Now, motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're done.
Good job, Farley. That's why we picked you. All right. Thank you. Thank you.